sound coming from beneath the mountain wasn't wind. It wasn't machinery. It was screaming. Hundreds of voices, all at once, all in agony. And somewhere in that chorus, I heard my sister. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Upvoted Stories. Today's story is different. It's longer, darker, and more disturbing than anything we've covered before. This is Barasca, a name that means storm in Spanish. But in this small mountain town, it means something far worse. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. My name is Sam Walker. When I was 8 years old, my family moved to a small town called Drisking, Missouri, population 2,000, nestled in the Ozark Mountains. My dad got a job at the local factory, and my mom thought the fresh mountain air would be good for us. I remember the drive up. The road twisted through endless forest, climbing higher and higher until my ears popped. The town appeared suddenly, a cluster of old buildings surrounded by trees so thick you couldn't see 20 feet into them. Our house was on Fairmont Street, a quiet road where nothing ever seemed to happen. That's where I met my best friend Kyle Landy and a girl named Kimber DeStaro. We were inseparable that first summer, exploring the woods, swimming in the creek, being kids. But there were rules in Drisking, rules nobody talked about directly, but everyone followed. Don't go into the woods after dark, don't climb the mountain, and never, ever ask about Barasca. The first time I heard the name was from Kyle's older brother, Tyler. We were camping in Kyle's backyard when Tyler stumbled home drunk and saw us. "You kids stay out of those woods," he slurred. "Barasca will get you." "What's Barasca?" I asked. Tyler's face went pale. He looked around like someone might be listening, then leaned in close. "It's where they take the bad kids, up the mountain, and they never come back." I thought he was just trying to scare us, but then I started noticing things. Every few months, someone would disappear, usually teenagers. The sheriff would organize a search party. They'd comb the woods for a few days and then nothing. The family would move away. Nobody talked about it. "It's the mountains," people would say. "Easy to get lost, easy to fall." But kids don't just vanish. Not this many, not this often. My sister Whitney was 3 years older than me. She was smart, beautiful, and absolutely fearless. While I was scared of the dark, Whitney would sneak out at night to watch meteor showers from the roof. When she turned 15, something changed. She became secretive, started hanging out with older kids, came home late with grass stains on her clothes and refused to say where she'd been. One night, I followed her. She walked to the edge of town, to a path I'd never seen before. It led up, toward the mountain, toward Barasca. I was too scared to follow her into the woods. I went home and told myself she'd be back by morning. She wasn't. The search lasted 2 weeks. They found her backpack by a cliff edge. The sheriff said she must have fallen. Case closed. But I knew my sister. She didn't fall. She never fell. Something took her. Years passed. I grew up, went to college, tried to forget about Drisking. But the memories followed me everywhere. Whitney's laugh, Kyle's jokes, the way the mountain loomed over everything. When I was 22, I got a call. Kyle was dead. Suicide, they said. Jumped off the same cliff where they found Whitney's backpack. I didn't believe it. Kyle was the happiest person I knew. He had plans, college, career, family. He wouldn't just give up. I drove back to Drisking for the funeral. The town hadn't changed at all. Same old buildings, same thick forests, same mountain watching over everything. That's when I started digging. I talked to old classmates, searched through newspaper archives, tracked down families who had left town after losing children. The pattern was undeniable. Over 50 years, hundreds of people had vanished in Drisking. Young women mostly, some teenagers, some in their 20s. All of them last seen heading toward the mountain, and every single disappearance was connected to one family. The Prescotts, Sheriff Prescott, Mayor Prescott. The Prescotts owned the factory, the bank, half the businesses in town. They had been running Drisking for generations. They were also the ones who declared every missing person dead. Case closed. Move along. I found the entrance to Barasca on a Tuesday night. It was an old mine shaft, hidden behind a waterfall about 2 miles up the mountain. The entrance was locked with a rusted gate, but the lock had been opened recently. Fresh scratches in the metal. I climbed through. The tunnel went down, deep into the mountain. The air got colder, wetter, and I started to hear something. A low hum, like distant machinery. Then the smell hit me. I won't describe it. I can't. Some things don't belong in words. The tunnel opened into a massive cavern, and there, illuminated by flickering lights, I saw what Barasca really was. They weren't killing the missing girls. They were keeping them. Rows and rows of, I can't. I'm sorry. This is the part of the story I wish I could forget. What I saw in that cavern explained everything. Why girls disappeared, why families left town, why nobody ever talked about it. The Prescotts had been running an operation for over 50 years. The town's entire economy depended on it. And somewhere in that nightmare, I found what was left of my sister. I burned it down. I don't remember how I got out. I don't remember driving to the state police. I barely remember the trial, the news cameras, the faces of the Prescott family as they were led away in handcuffs. 23 women were rescued from that cavern. 23 survivors of something that should never have existed. Most of them had been there for years. Some had been born there. The town of Drisking was abandoned within a month. The buildings still stand, empty and rotting. The mountain still looms over everything, keeping its secrets. I visit Whitney's grave every year. It's empty, of course. They never found her body. But it gives me somewhere to go, somewhere to remember. The official story is that a cult operated in those mountains for decades. That's the version that made the news. That's what people can accept. But I was there. I saw the ledgers. I know which companies bought what Barasca produced. I know how deep the conspiracy went. And I know that Drisking wasn't the only town. If you live in a small mountain community where people sometimes disappear, where the same families have been in charge for generations, where nobody talks about certain things, pay attention to the silence, because silence is where monsters hide. That was Barasca, one of the most disturbing stories ever posted to Reddit. The original was written by a user who has since deleted their account. Some say it's fiction. Others believe it was based on real events. I'll let you decide. If this story kept you up tonight, consider subscribing for more tales from the darkest corners of the internet. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next upload. And remember, some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Until next time, stay safe out there.